Imagine living in a world where disease, war, and famine were constant threats, where survival often depended on clever inventions, not just brute strength. The Middle Ages might seem dark and brutal, but they were also a time of incredible innovation. Some of these inventions were so effective that they kept people alive centuries ago, and believe it or not, many of them still work today. So let's uncover the 7 medieval inventions that kept people alive. In this first part, we'll explore 4 life-saving breakthroughs that helped ordinary people survive one of history's harshest eras. 1. The heavy plow, feeding Europe's population. In early medieval Europe, farming was backbreaking work. The soil in northern Europe was heavy, dense, and hard to till with the old Roman-style light plows. For peasants, this meant less food, constant hunger, and vulnerability to famine. Then came the heavy plow, a simple but revolutionary invention. Unlike the light plow, this new design had a large iron blade capable of cutting deep into clay soil. It turned the earth more effectively, mixing nutrients and preparing the ground for better harvests. This meant farmers could cultivate much more land with fewer people. Entire regions that were once nearly useless for agriculture suddenly became fertile. The heavy plow didn't just increase food production, it transformed Europe. With better harvests came population growth, stronger communities, and less starvation. Today, the principle behind the heavy plow is still used in modern farming machinery. While technology has advanced, the idea of breaking and turning heavy soil to unlock its fertility remains the same. 2. Windmills, harnessing nature's power. Imagine being a medieval farmer. Every grain of wheat had to be ground by hand or by using water mills. But what if you lived far from rivers or streams? That's where windmills became lifesavers. First appearing in Europe around the 12th century, windmills used the power of the wind to grind grain into flour. This was revolutionary because it meant food could be processed faster, feeding more people in less time. Windmills also pumped water out of lowlands, preventing floods and making land habitable. In places like the Netherlands, windmills literally saved lives by keeping entire villages above water. Without them, farmland would have drowned, and famine would have followed. Even today, we use the same principle, except now windmills generate electricity. From medieval grain to modern power grids, the windmill shows how innovation can be timeless. 3. Eyeglasses, restoring sight, restoring work. You might not think of eyeglasses as a survival tool, but in the Middle Ages, they were life-changing. First appearing in Italy around the late 13th century, eyeglasses allowed people with failing vision to keep working, reading, and contributing to society. Imagine being a scribe, monk, or craftsman. Your eyesight weakens, and suddenly, your livelihood is gone. Eyeglasses gave people a second chance. Monks could continue copying manuscripts, craftsmen could keep producing goods, and elderly scholars could share their wisdom. This invention didn't just restore sight, it restored purpose. By keeping skilled individuals active longer, eyeglasses indirectly helped communities survive. More books were written, more knowledge was preserved, and more trade goods were produced. Today, eyeglasses remain one of the most important medical tools in the world. They may seem ordinary, but their origin lies in the medieval struggle to keep knowledge and productivity alive. 4. The horseshoe, turning horses into powerhouses. In medieval times, the horse wasn't just an animal, it was a survival machine. Horses plowed fields, carried soldiers into battle, and transported goods across continents. But there was one big problem. Without protection, a horse's hooves wore down quickly, making them weak and useless. Enter the horseshoe. This simple piece of iron, nailed to a horse's hoof, changed everything. Horses could travel longer distances, carry heavier loads, and work harder without injury. The horseshoe transformed agriculture by allowing horses to pull plows more effectively than oxen. It also made cavalry warfare more powerful, giving knights the strength to dominate battlefields. But beyond war, horseshoes meant more food, more trade, and more reliable transportation. Entire medieval economies depended on the strength of horses, and the humble horseshoe kept them alive. Even today, horseshoes are still used around the world. Modern materials exist, but the medieval principle remains unchanged: protect the hoof, protect the animal, protect the human society depending on it. So far, we've seen how the heavy plow, windmills, eyeglasses, and the horseshoe weren't just inventions, they were lifelines. Each one helped medieval people overcome famine, disability, or physical limits, ensuring survival in a harsh world. 5. Eyeglasses. In the late 13th century, eyeglasses were invented in Italy, completely changing the way people with poor eyesight lived. Before this, monks and scholars often struggled to read or write as they aged. Early glasses were simple convex lenses mounted in frames held by hand or perched on the nose. Despite their humble design, they extended productivity and learning for countless people. Today, eyeglasses have evolved into contact lenses and laser surgery, but the principle, correcting vision through lenses, remains the same, a direct gift from medieval ingenuity. 6. The hourglass. Timekeeping was a serious challenge in the Middle Ages, but the hourglass became one of the simplest and most effective tools. Unlike sundials, which required sunlight, hourglasses worked day and night, indoors and outdoors. Sailors relied on them for navigation, measuring shifts, and timing distances at sea. Even churches and kitchens used them. The idea of controlling time in a precise, portable way helped build the foundation for modern clocks and watches. In fact, the hourglass is still used symbolically today to represent time itself. 7. Chimneys. While fireplaces had existed for centuries, the invention of the chimney in the 12th century transformed life in Europe. Before chimneys, smoke filled entire rooms, causing respiratory problems and fires. Chimneys allowed smoke to escape safely, making homes warmer, healthier, and more comfortable. This simple architectural change not only saved lives but also paved the way for multi-story housing, as upper floors could finally be heated without suffocating occupants. The chimney remains a cornerstone of architecture, even in modern homes. Conclusion. From clean water systems and armor to eyeglasses, hourglasses, and chimneys, medieval people developed practical inventions that continue to shape our world. They weren't just living in the Dark Ages, they were innovating for survival. And many of their solutions still work perfectly today.